Hi guys, Natalie, Jill here, back on Unprocess Your Diet, and today I've got my friend Mareya from Eat Cleaner. Thanks for being here.
So good to be here.
And we're talking about an awesome topic today. It's because I did not realize this, and I'm sure many of you don't, but how clean or how dirty is the food that we're eating, especially fruits and vegetables, and whether it's organic or not organic, like how dirty is it? So Mareya has an amazing company,
really dirty.
and a very interesting story of why you started your company. If you could share a little bit about how that started.
Definitely, thank you. Well, I have a background in holistic nutrition, and I'm a chef. And you know, I've always been really into ways to get people to eat more fruits and vegetables because they really should be about half of our diet.
Yes.
And my dad is an environmental scientist, and he said to me, you know, do you really understand what's on that produce? I mean, bacteria and pesticides, and now they're covering it with wax, and it's traveling and it's touched by 20, 30 different sets of hands before it ever gets to us. Oh, and by the way, it's traveling around the world now, and a lot of it is not getting inspected. So we put our heads together and we created the Eat Cleaner wash, and it's the only patented all-natural wash that is lab-proven to remove up to 99.9% of the pesticide residue, wax, and bacteria from your fresh produce. Plus, it helps your produce last longer.
So I've seen products that clean vegetables and fruit, and I've heard, you know, some people say, well, all you have to do is really wash it. You can put soap on them, rinse it in water. That's enough. Talk to me about that, because how does somebody know, you know, if they're really cleaning their fruits and vegetables?
Well, it's a great question because we're told that we should just rinse with water, but based on all the lab data we've done, even if you go to the FDA's website, it will tell you that water's not that effective. So what are we left with? We're left with produce that's been covered in a layer of wax. So imagine if it hasn't been washed properly, which these beautiful strawberries, they're picked and packed in the field. They're never cleaned before they actually get to us.
And we have no idea who's touching or handling these.
Yeah, and there was just an outbreak just recently where there was a salmonella outbreak, and it was all because the produce wasn't washed properly and it was sprayed or treated with animal manure. So that can happen in the field very easily. It can also happen just by somebody not washing their hands and touching it in the grocery store.
So, and water will not rinse that off?
Water is not that effective. Based on our lab research, we're seeing about 30 to 40% effective, sometimes upwards of 70%, but still that leaves a lot.
Okay, so let's, before we show like actually what is on our fruits and vegetables, because this is crazy when you guys see what is actually on this stuff. I had no idea. What is wrong with something being on our food? A lot of people say, well, gosh, we have immune systems for that, your body cleans it. Let's talk about that. What can happen if you've got food with something on it, contaminated?
Well, let's start with the portion of the population that's really got to watch it because their immune levels are lower, and that's pregnant women, children, and people with autoimmune deficiencies.
Like me, I have one.
Yeah, so and that's what happened with my dad. My dad had cancer, and that's really what fast-tracked me to want to bring this product to life. Is I had just had a child, and my dad had cancer, and I was thinking they should be able to eat fruits and vegetables and not have to worry about what's on there that can cause illness. So that's 60% of the population, a little bit more in the US alone. So right then and there, their risk of foodborne illness is a lot higher. But then you think about everybody else. I mean, a good friend of mine got sick and was paralyzed and hospitalized after a foodborne illness outbreak. I've had many friends who have had, you know, hospitalizations and other really severe side effects. So you think anybody can get sick. You don't have to be, you know, in a position where you're you know, compromised. Your immunity is compromised. But then again, the food that we're eating should be good for us. Like fruits and vegetables should be at the corner of our diet. Leafy greens are the #1 cause of foodborne illness. Apples are the #1 sprayed crop. Up to 53 different pesticides as reported by the Environmental Working Group. So if you can take a step to remove a lot of that, and you can do that effectively with our product, why not?
Yeah.
You know?
So 3 questions that I have right away, and I'm sure they have the same questions.
Sure.
Organic versus non-organic, does that help us at all? That's one question.
Yeah, organic doesn't mean that it's necessarily free of bacteria. Organic means it's grown without chemical fertilizers and pesticides. doesn't mean that the potential for animal manure to be used or fertilizers that would carry bacteria isn't there. In fact, your risk goes higher.
So now if somebody is using non-organic fruits or vegetables and because of price or whatever reason, can they rinse off the pesticides with this product?
Well, we're lab proven to remove over 99% of what's on the surface. There may be a little bit that is endemic, which means it's taken in through the roots, but some of that wears off over time. So you also have a shelf life issue around the pesticides. For the most part, that is worn off by the time you ingest it. It's really what's on the surface because of what's been sprayed recently.
So for somebody that money has been an issue with organic, this could be something that could potentially help them
Definitely.
with that.
I mean, if they're eating organic, they still need to wash it properly too. I really want to emphasize that because of handling, bacteria, and also you've got to think a lot of the time organic doesn't last as long, and our wash will give added shelf life. So you can bring your produce home, spray it, put it back in the refrigerator, and it will help it last up to 5 times longer.
That's huge, and that saves money right there.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
fruits and vegetables last longer. I mean,
Well, it's the
that's
biggest complaint I hear is, I want to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, but it goes bad before I can even get to it. So ours is the only one on the market that's formulated to do that.
Now talk about pre-washed lettuce, because that's
Yeah.
a big one. Pre-washed lettuce,
Yeah.
is it clean?
Did you hear about the mouse that was just recently found in a bag of
No,
pre-washed?
I did not.
Yeah, well, if you Google it online, you will see frogs, you'll see cockroaches, you'll see mice,
I'm not having pre-washed lettuce anymore.
all kinds of stuff. So I know that they tell us not to rewash it again, but I'm telling you, I would rewash it again. Just because a lot of the times those produce washes, quote washes, are just chlorinated water.
Okay, so I want to see what happens here. I want to see because you showed this to me before and I could not believe it. I want to show what actually happens when we clean stuff properly. And I just want to show you guys too. She brought me a Wonder Woman apron. So I'm not saying I am Wonder Woman, but you haven't seen us in the same room. That's all I'm saying.
You wear it well. You wear it well.
Okay.
So Natalie, I want to show you the difference between grapes and blueberries because you're going to see a huge visual difference. But you want to see a magic trick? I'm known for this magic trick. Okay, so I'm going to cut the broccoli in half.
This is not washed or rinsed.
This is not washed or anything, no. So you've got your 2 pieces of broccoli, all from the same stalk. And what do most people do? They take it, they rinse it under the sink, right?
Yep. Just shake it out.
And what happens?
Probably wipe it with a paper towel, and it gets stuck on the broccoli.
The water just kind of beads up, right? It doesn't really do much.
Right.
Okay, so that's 1/2. Now, let me show you what happens with the e-cleaner. So we take our bottle, and this is a brand new bottle we just came out with. You get 50% more free. You spray the top. Just give it a quick spray like that, and instantly, you see the color difference?
Oh my gosh.
So you can see the color difference there, but look at what happens. You take the water, and it runs right through.
Wow. That is pretty cool. That's
no beating
crazy.
up of water. And you know why? Is because the product is actually getting under the surface to really clean, not just rinse. And you can see how that water is just beaded up on there and just sitting there, but we've really penetrated the surface to break through what's on there.
That's a huge difference.
Cuts through wax, all that junk.
Great.
Okay, so with the grapes, so I'm gonna take some water again. Just normally you would rinse it, right? Give it a quick rinse. If that at all. Do you know only about 50% of people even rinse their produce?
I just shake it under the water and wipe it with a paper towel with all kinds of chemicals.
All kinds of stuff that you don't want to eat. So there's our rinse. Now, we'll do the same thing with a e-cleaner. And instantly, you can see the difference in the color. Look at how much brighter and shinier those get. Now we're gonna leave that on for a couple of minutes and we'll give it a quick rinse. And the one really important thing that I want people to understand is you're not gonna change the way the food tastes or smells. I think that's usually a question we get is does it alter the flavor? In fact, it actually makes the flavor better. Because what you don't realize, and as a chef this is something I always teach people, is mouthfeel. You don't realize that sometimes that grittiness or that dryness that you're tasting is actually not what the fruit, the fruit and vegetable is supposed to taste like. So it will taste better, it will smell better, it will last longer, it'll be more visually appealing because we eat with our eyes first. So about a minute went by, you cut the time, but And this is a great way to wash your produce, is put it in a little strainer basket like this. You shake it off and you're ready to eat.
That's as quick as you do
That's
it.
as quick as it is. And look at the difference.
Holy cow,
You can
that's
see
crazy.
a massive difference. You want
Massive
to try?
difference. Yeah.
Give it a try.
I'm not eating the dirty ones anymore though. Yeah, it just tastes like a super fresh grape. You can't taste anything.
Right. So that's how easy it is. And then if you weren't ready to eat these, you could just wash them like we did, blot them off and put them back in the
Which saves
refrigerator
time.
in a sealed container, and you're ready for the week.
So, okay, show me the strawberries. I'm dying to see that because I know that is one of the dirtiest ones.
Yes. We'll put and look at all the stuff that came off there. So we've got our strawberries, and remember what I mentioned to you, these are picked and packed in the field. So please, whatever you do, to all your followers, please do not sample these in the store or the farmer's market. There's all kinds of junk on there.
Never again.
Never. And
I'm wondering how I've survived this long, to be honest with you. Like, I can't believe I've been eating all this without washing them.
And
right.
the thing is a lot of the time people will say, well, I've never gotten sick, so what's the big deal? Well, these toxins and bacteria can build up in your system, and you were asking me, well, okay, what's a little bacteria? Some of us have higher resistance than others. So I may eat these and not get sick, but you might, and vice versa. You just never know.
With any compromised immune system, you're gonna feel it worse. Anyway.
Exactly, and you can see the difference there even just in the sprayed ones. So again, you would let these sit for a couple of minutes, and strawberries in my house do not last. We wash them and we set them out in a basket and they're gone. They just look too good and they taste too good. Again, give it a quick rinse. And look at how bright and shiny and beautiful. If you're on the go, we have these wipes. So if you're traveling, you can take it to go. All you have to do is take the wipe and clean it. And apples are the #1 most sprayed product. So you really want to make sure you wash these well, clean these, even if it has a peel. So oranges, melons, you still want to clean the outside before you cut it or peel it, because you can transfer all of the bacteria and the pesticide residue to the inside.
Do you need to rinse after you do this?
Nope, you don't need to rinse it. And again, I would definitely recommend doing this for organic or commercially grown, because again, you've got produce that's sitting out there, you don't know who's touched it. So nice and pretty and shiny and ready to eat.
Last one, I want to show the kale, because that's another big, and everyone's so into kale lately these days.
Kale and all leafy greens. I mean, you see all these ridges in the dinosaur kale. This is a hotbed for bacteria, not to geek out, but that's where a lot of the bacteria sits and settles, is in all of those little ridges. So what I would do is I would take your kale or your lettuce or whatever it is, just chop the ends off, and then cut it up into bite-sized pieces. We'll take some and put it in our basket so it's easy to clean. Take the spray. And again, you've got a huge visual difference. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah, that's
just
huge.
in how much brighter and shinier it is just from spraying. And again, if you were to just rinse this, here's the difference. Because a lot of people will say that, well, what about rinsing it? You still don't get the same color.
No.
So you take that, you leave it on for a couple of minutes, and then you take your water and rinse. I don't know if you can see that, but it's literally like turning our bowl kind of grayish green colored.
Okay, I am never again not using these. That is so nasty. I would have eaten all that before.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you're buying like really dirty greens that have a lot of, you know, dirt and filth on them, I mean, the bowl will literally turn brown. And you'll see some bugs crawling around, sure of it.
I'm totally grossed out. I'm totally buying this.
That's the difference.
Where do people get this?
So you can find us at some retail in Southern California. We're in Stater Brothers, Albertsons, and Whole Foods, but we're online at eatcleaner.com. And on Amazon.
I'm going to put an information below exactly where you can find your website, and
That'd be awesome.
that's awesome.
And I'd love to give your followers a code for 15%
great.
off.
Yeah, that's
too,
awesome.
so.
We'll put that down below as well, so
Okay.
you've got all of that.
Great.
Thank you so much for being
for
here.
this opportunity.
This is great. I am changing everything about my fruits and vegetables. I'm like disgusted with what I've been eating now. Thank you, Mareya. I hope you guys found this as informative as I have. Bye.